I'm a 22-year-old girl. About a month ago, I was hunting for furniture for my new apartment, and Craigslist seemed like the cheapest option. I stumbled across a listing for a couch that looked like it had just come out of a showroom. The photos made it look spotless, almost brand new, and the price was almost too good to be true. The seller only wanted to be contacted by email. His email had a disturbing name with the number 666 in it, something that immediately made me uneasy. The moment I saw that, it gave me a weird, unsettling vibe, but the deal was so tempting that I decided to reach out anyway. I sent him my offer, and within 5 minutes, he replied, accepting it immediately. Then he asked for my home address. That request instantly made me uncomfortable. I wasn't about to give some random stranger my location. I suggested I could just pick it up myself. But he kept insisting over and over that he would rather bring it to me. The more he pushed, the creepier it felt. Finally, I stopped replying. A day later, he emailed again, this time with his home address. I hesitated. The whole thing felt sketchy, but the price, it was such a steal, and according to the address, he lived only a short drive away. Against my better judgment, I decided to go check it out. When I pulled up, I immediately noticed his house was smaller and shabbier than the others on the block. Something about it looked wrong. When I rang the bell, a middle-aged man in a baseball cap answered. His smile stretched unnaturally wide as he waved me inside. My gut twisted with unease, but I forced myself to stay calm. He led me to the living room. The couch was right there, but as soon as I saw it, I knew something was off. It was beat up, covered in scratches and little tears, nothing like the photos online. I pointed it out. He just grinned and said he'd lower the price. I told him I wasn't interested and turned to leave. That's when things turned disturbing. He grabbed my shoulder, leaned in, and whispered that he'd give it to me for free, if I was willing to give something back to him. My stomach dropped. I pushed him off, muttered something disgusted, and stormed out to my car without looking back. But it didn't end there. That same night, lying in bed, I heard heavy footsteps coming up onto my porch. I muted the TV. A few seconds later, I heard someone rattling my front doorknob. My heart pounded as I crept toward the peephole. Whoever it was, they were already gone. And then, from the back of the apartment, I heard the gate creak open. A few seconds later, the back doorknob started twisting. I grabbed my phone, dialed 911, and shouted that the police were coming. Immediately, I heard the gate slam shut. Silence. That was a month ago. Nothing's happened since, but I'm 99% sure it was the same man who tried to sell me that couch. He must have followed me home. There's no way that was a coincidence. I haven't slept properly since that night, and I will never use Craigslist again. I was looking to buy my son his first car for his 18th birthday. I searched through all the popular car sites, cars.com, eBay Motors, local dealerships. Every single one was overpriced. Then I checked Craigslist, and that's where I thought I'd hit the jackpot. It was a 2003 Toyota Camry with just 67,000 miles, no accidents, no damage, and the seller only wanted $3,500. For a reliable car like that, the deal felt almost unreal. The seller introduced himself as Bob and assured me over the phone that the car was in perfect condition. He sounded normal, friendly even. I grabbed the cash and drove to his address. His property was a little isolated, tucked away from the nearest neighbors. The garage door was wide open, so I peeked in. It was full of random car parts, more than I'd ever seen in one place. But the Camry wasn't there. The only vehicle I saw was an old pickup truck. I checked the house number. It matched. There was no doorbell, so I knocked. I waited 5 minutes, then called Bob's number. That's when I heard his cell phone ringing from inside the house. Now I knew I had the right place. But why wasn't he answering? Curiosity got the better of me. I walked to a side window and peered through the glass. The inside was dimly lit. I saw a dated dining room set, but then I froze. Across the room, by the back door, stood a figure. motionless, staring outside. I figured that had to be Bob. I tapped on the glass. No reaction. Not a single movement. The backyard wasn't fenced, so I walked around to get a closer look. The moment I reached the back door, the truth hit me like a punch in the chest. That figure wasn't alive. It was a taxidermied human body, posed to look like it was standing at the door. My blood ran cold. I didn't waste a second. I bolted back to my car, heart racing, and jumped inside. Before speeding off, I glanced once more at the window where I had peeked earlier. The blinds, which had been open, were now closed, except for 2 small slits. Behind those slits, someone was watching me. I hit the gas and didn't stop until I was back home. To this day, I can't make sense of it. The car parts, the fake listing, the stuffed human body. But one thing I do know, if I had stayed even a minute longer, I might have ended up as another lifeless decoration, staring out that man's back door. About a year ago, I wanted to buy an iPhone 5. Craigslist had one listed for $200, supposedly in mint condition. The seller claimed he just wanted to upgrade to the 5C. I didn't know much about testing phones, so I brought my younger brother along. He's the tech-savvy one. We agreed to meet in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot at 10 p.m. It was late, and honestly, the timing itself made me uneasy. A black Honda Civic pulled up. 2 large, intimidating men stepped out. One handed me the phone. It looked flawless. My brother popped in my SIM card, tested it, and gave me a nod. It worked. Then the guy said he wanted $250, even though the ad said $200. I lied and told him I only brought $200, which he reluctantly accepted. I paid and got back in my car. But they didn't leave. They sat in their Civic, watching us. When I pulled out of the lot, they followed. Every single turn, they stuck close behind. My brother kept telling me to pull over, but I knew better. These guys weren't done with us. At one intersection, the light turned red. I floored it and sped through before cross-traffic started. My brother screamed at me for being reckless, but it worked. They didn't follow. Finally, I got home, heart pounding, relieved it was over. Except it wasn't. Later that night, as I was setting up the phone, I heard 2 car doors slam outside. I peeked through my window and froze. Parked across the street was the same black Honda Civic. I woke my dad immediately. He grabbed a baseball bat and crouched by the front door. Moments later, a heavy knock rattled the door. My dad shouted at them to leave. One of the men yelled back that they had a gun and would shoot the lock off if we didn't open. My dad told me to call Joe, our neighbor 2 doors down. He's a police officer. I dialed him in a panic. Joe told us to stay hidden, that he was on his way. Seconds later, the muffled sound of a silenced gunshot cracked through the night. A bullet tore through the door, inches from my father's head. We all scrambled back, terrified. And then, outside, we heard Joe's voice. He was shouting for them to drop their weapons. By some miracle, they listened. Joe arrested both men right there.